What a ripoff!
Nobody likes getting ripped off, especially by one of the most beloved and convenient services around today, online food delivery. We love the convenience, but these companies are pulling a fast one on you, the consumer. Here's how.
They rip everybody off.
Rising costs of food delivery.
It's costing us a fortune.
Everything, or almost everything, eventually becomes more convenient. That's one of the perks that comes with the modern advancements in tech, and not having to leave your couch for food is a perk and a half. Food delivery is pretty much the name of the game these days. In fact, it's not out of the ordinary to have Uber Eats, Grubhub, and other third-party delivery apps on your cell's home screen next to TikTok and Candy Crush. Having that Big Mac combo or caramel iced coffee delivered to your door is quick and easy. But the truth is, the convenience of getting your food from the restaurant to your door comes at a price.
What are you generous folks willing to pay?
Delivery costs have significantly increased over the years due to things like service fees, delivery fees, and regulatory fees, which often disguise the true reasons for inflated prices. Unfortunately, as food prices continue to rise across the country, many food delivery services say they're struggling to make ends meet. It seems there isn't a person or company out there that hasn't felt the sting brought about by inflation. So don't be surprised if you now have to add a few extra bucks for your meal. At this rate, folks may have no choice but to get up off the couch and pick up that quarter pounder the old-fashioned way.
Can we go to a restaurant now?
Corporate exploitation.
And give their corporate friends free rein to exploit our community.
A show of hands, how many folks out there love a good burger or a fancy new pair of shoes? Obviously, as consumers, we just can't get enough. After all, without those thriving companies pumping out all our favorite products, what would we do with all that excess time and money? Consumers, we get a never-ending number of goods, and services and businesses get paid. For every business out there, money, or making a profit to be specific, is the bottom line. We all know that.
Profits are up, up, up.
Companies strive to make larger profits every year. Unfortunately, many businesses will ultimately do whatever they can to make those profits, and this can come at the expense of both their employees and the customer's wallet. Companies like Uber and DoorDash have reduced the wages paid to drivers while removing the peak hours boost, which is paid out during bad weather or during weekends. To make matters even more bleak for delivery drivers, they do not have paid sick time, which means if you have a cold or the flu, you either work sick and risk infecting your client, or you stay home and not get paid. The choice is yours. Of course, the large delivery companies blame higher costs on minimum wage laws, while simultaneously lobbying against these laws. The sad truth is their business models prioritize profits over fair treatment of workers and transparency. If a happy worker is a fairly paid worker, then the delivery service apps didn't get the memo.
But they don't pay fair.
Market domination and control.
World will be ours.
There isn't a business out there that doesn't want complete dominance of the market, as money and growth is what a business is all about. While friendly competition is part of the game, your average run-of-the-mill establishment would rather their competitors pack up and move to the North Pole without looking back. In the food industry, especially the fast food world, the race for market dominance is always ongoing. Of course, the mega chains like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's have stood over the fast food landscape as the three pillars for years. However, even between the three big burger joints, the war for market majority is fierce. The same restaurant war for market domination is rife in the online food delivery service world as well. But in that world, the big boys have a tight grip over their competition. Uber and DoorDash have monopolized the food delivery market, controlling 96% of the business. In March of this year, Uber alone accounted for 76% of observed rideshare spending in the U.S. This market leadership gives Uber more knowledge about customer behavior than any of its competitors. Uber has also employed AI, a practice that many companies are adopting nowadays, to exploit price discrimination even further. Furthermore, Uber has access to countless customers with a large fleet of drivers at their disposal, which aids in the company's expansion into the all-important new markets, like package delivery, to name but one. This market dominance has eliminated alternatives like old-school in-house delivery workers and direct restaurant ordering. If the delivery services just mentioned had any more dominance over the market, folks would likely see the end of in-house dining and have no choice but to order their meals and eat at home exclusively.
I'm gonna need a food delivery.
First time here and loving this video? Well, take a quick second to subscribe and hit that like button. Now, back to the delivery letdowns.
Thank you.
The Enshittification Theory.
Testing a theory.
Imagine this. A brand new online service pops up in the App Store. You download it, and the service is great at first. After a while, you start to notice a slight dip in the quality of service until more time passes and the quality of the service is now abysmal. This is the idea behind the Enshittification Theory. Platforms initially attract users with low costs and convenience, but gradually worsen user experience to extract more profit, exploiting both end users and business customers. To further muddy the waters, you can see examples of enshittification when online platforms flood their services with ads.
Why so many?
Yes, that once glorious service that was smooth as silk to navigate is now filled to the brim with ads, which makes for great anger fuel and nothing else. Other examples include the sacrifice of user privacy in favor of profits, massive data collection, and fees for choosing to leave the service, just to name a few. There are people out there who claim that enshittification is more complicated of an issue than it seems, and there's no quick fix solution to put consumers' minds at ease. However, most would argue that when it comes to quality being sacrificed so the business providing the service can add a few extra millions to its bank is simply unacceptable. Unfortunately, the tactic of maximizing profits at the expense of quality is far from being a new one. But now the tried and tested method has made its way to the digital world. Hey, you can't spell enshittification without S-H-I. You get the idea. Predatory practices by delivery apps.
The predatory nature of his actions.
When you think of your go-to food delivery app, the first thing to pop into your mind should be its cost, efficiency, and quickness, not the unsavory behavior behind that app. However, there's an alarming trend surrounding delivery apps and predatory practices. Predatory practices in business are as disliked now as they were in the past. While many companies may see them as a means to an end, provided their business is coming out on top, of course, most of the public tends to frown upon them, especially when it's the customers who are the victims. Like with most things, these business practices have made their way to online services.
Predatory opportunist in town.
Delivery apps enforce unfair policies, such as requiring restaurants to keep menu prices uniform across platforms. Other examples include buying domain names of partner restaurants and charging exorbitant fees for visibility and access. The customer is also put in a position of confusion, as they may not be made perfectly clear of the exact delivery fees they're being charged. If you thought it couldn't get any worse, some of these services have made plans to merge to create one super online delivery service monopoly. Unfortunately, small businesses have little control over how their businesses run through the delivery app, adding further fuel to the fire. These facts are forcing some users to just give up on delivery apps completely.
Cancel my order.
Impact on workers and customers.
The gig economy's no joke.
A popular trend in the gig economy of today is to become a delivery service driver. This is usually to supplement income, as sadly, many people across the country can no longer count on the income of just one job. However, in other cases, service delivery is their only source of income. When you choose to work for Uber Eats, Grubhub, and so on, it becomes like any other job, meaning you depend on it. Unfortunately, the delivery service workers, or gig workers, are subject to some rather unpleasant conditions, to put it lightly. Gig workers face reduced pay, lack of benefits, and precarious work conditions. A light paycheck can mean the difference between paying rent and having to scramble to find some extra cash for the month's rent. With delivery services not being guaranteed frequent trips and generous tips, reduced pay can be devastating. A lack of employee benefits also means that in addition to reduced pay, you'll have to pay for any medical bills out of pocket, and that's no fun for anyone. And of course, you may find yourself in a less than desirable neighborhood when delivering, and combined with the previously mentioned negatives, precarious working conditions are the last thing a delivery driver wants. Customers, meanwhile, bear increased costs for a service that has essentially inserted unnecessary middlemen into a previously functional system.
Let's cut out the middleman.
Misleading public narratives.
Isn't that misleading?
Trust is an important thing, especially when talking about a customer's trust in a go-to service provider. If people can't trust their favorite delivery app, then who can they trust? In the case of delivery service fees, the public expects the money they pay out to these online delivery apps to go toward wherever or whatever these companies claim. However, customers only know what these services tell them, and that, sadly, can be whatever they want. Companies use charges labeled as a regulatory fee to shift blame onto wage laws or government policies, while hiding profits directed toward executives and shareholders. This is a little something called a violation or breach of business ethics, and unfortunately, it seems to be a recurring issue in both the regular business world as well as online.
How about some goddamn business ethics?
Broader implications of middleman capitalism.
I was simply a middleman.
Back in the day, a business would supply the public with either goods or services in exchange for money. No, this isn't a rudimentary lesson in how business transactions work. It's simply a quick reminder of how companies conducted themselves with their client base. However, eventually, the idea of a third-party business entered the equation, and voila! Welcome to the world of the middleman. Middleman services, or intermediaries, are a key part of the economic landscape and play a crucial role in connecting businesses and consumers. They come in many forms, from small businesses to large international corporations.
Remember, we are just the middlemen here.
These middlemen help their mainline affiliates with the efficient functioning of markets and industries while also introducing certain costs. For the most part, intermediaries bridging the gap between customer and business has worked out just fine for everyone. In the case of the delivery apps, they provide a service that was unavailable in the past, as having McDonald's or Starbucks delivered to your door was unheard of not too long ago. Now that Americana or Big Mac is sitting on your living room table and you never had to leave the house. However, there is a downside to intermediaries and their effect on the economy, such as customers having a hard time understanding exactly who is behind the services they're buying, and intermediaries using their profits and influence to persuade lawmakers. Unfortunately, the issue extends beyond food delivery to other industries like healthcare, streaming, and even meditation apps, where corporations profit by adding unnecessary intermediaries.
Profits, profits, profits!
Call for action.
It's about time something was done about it.
So, there's an obvious issue with the delivery apps and their growing dominance. While these services do provide a comforting convenience that is welcomed in everyday life, it comes at a cost. However, if you wish to circumnavigate around the middleman, there are, of course, ways to avoid those delivery services. Advocates recommend ordering directly from restaurants. By cutting out the intermediary service,
I can eliminate the middleman.
you not only avoid any possible nefarious business tactics, you also ensure that all profit goes to business. There are also worker movements encouraging government regulation to dismantle monopolies. These small steps will help to slow down the rapid delivery app takeover. While you'll have to give up the modern convenience of having your food delivered at your doorstep, it never hurt anyone to get a few extra steps in throughout the day, right? Right?
I'm gonna call a restaurant.
Exposing the reality.
He wanted to help me expose the truth.
At the end of the day, some things are too good to be true. In the case of big online delivery services, that much seems to be the case. Delivery apps have made ordering your favorite meal or treat as easy as picking up your cell. However, the negatives that have emerged are both troubling and eye-opening. Despite claims of innovation, these companies rely on venture capital to dominate markets, exploiting labor laws and public trust under the guise of technological advancement. To quote former President George W. Bush, "Fool your customer base once, shame on you. Fool them, can't get fooled again. Oh, never mind."
4 times. You already fooled me.
Craving another video? Well, stay right here as we deliver another great BabbleTop video without the delivery fees.